Here.
Lucas Singer.
Here.
Hillary Barber.
All right, so we knew Hillary wasn't going to make it today, so we're all good here. Why don't we do the board reports? If you got anything, Tom?
Well, I guess pretty much the same as always, but this makes me feel a lot better right now because it's the biggest complaints we have about our boating and what have you is our ramps, and some people don't understand 520 Park or Centennial, and so this is great. I was telling John last week, I think it was Saturday, we had a real dump of rain a week ago. And I was coming back from Merritt Island, and the parking lot there was so full, I almost pulled off to the side and fished in the parking lot for a while. But the boat ramp has really been used this year because of the high water, every day. So at Centennial, which is great.
Well, we did get the grant from the state for bicentennial, and that's moving through, and Wayne's working on that.
Yes.
We'll
We'll get an update next time.
yeah, good.
Yep.
Hey, John?
Our Adopt a Park program, a week ago Thursday, the Rotary Club that has adopted two parks. One is Cocoa Isles, the other is Cabot Barkley Rotary Park. And last Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning, we had 8 volunteers out of that miserable heat.
You keep stressing 8 o'clock in the morning.
Spreading 7 yards of ADA-approved mulch. We got the job done in about 2 hours. We're waiting for new mulch now.
Yes.
To do Cabot Barkley, but we're gonna meet at 7 in the morning, not 8 in the morning. It was hot. Wheelbarrows and shovels.
Nice.
Played a little golf this weekend. It was brutal out there.
I don't have to play it on too cool.
Well, you could be roofing the school.
Yeah.
They start at
Lucas.
4, John.
I have nothing other than, I know last time I was here, I inquired about the Sidney Fisher Park sign.
Yeah,
Is that?
that is, yes.
Look like it's going to be in the
It's in the
budget for
works.
this
That is in the
coming year.
works, yes.
Good.
Yes, definitely.
And so that's fantastic to hear. The other item I wanted to bring up was just the nature preserve just south of Denny's there. Did I see that there was a bee issue in there that
Yeah,
was,
one day, yeah.
that's been all resolved and taken care of?
Yes.
Yeah, that must have been a large swarm of sorts.
Yeah, that they shut the park down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And is that kept in the natural state?
Yes, it
And
is.
it's, every once in a while, we have exotic removal in there?
I do believe it does. That's actually handled by Kelsey. Kelsey's actually handling that one, so I want to say yes, but don't hold me to it.
Okay.
But I know it's kept in the natural.
Yeah,
Yes,
yep,
definitely.
Yep, looks
Yes.
good. I think that
Yes.
looks good. I know several people that hike and walk through there, so
Yeah.
keep up that work.
Yeah.
So I'm going to report on the golf course. A lot of changes here.
Starting.
Yeah, we're starting to get one change is huge that we've been talking about for 15, 20 years is the water that, whenever it rains, the water builds up on the patio.
Yes.
And that's taken care of.
Well, it's
That looks-
in the
that-
works. It's in the
well,
works, yes.
The drain is there,
Yes.
and it's working.
So I've heard. I've heard it, I heard it did work the other day. Yeah.
So that's good, and I know we've got some other things planned. We're getting the carpet taken out of here, and
Yep.
do you have kind of a schedule on that, or?
Wayne is the one that's actually handling. I thought he would be here today, but I guess he's not here. But I know they've already started both patios, the one by the 19th hole and the one out front.
Yeah.
And I think the next thing is going to be the painting and carpets.
Good.
I think that's the next thing. I know they've already started picking out paints and stuff, so I'm guessing it's within the next couple of weeks. They're actually going to start that, yes.
All right, fantastic. I believe we have a presentation for Ramp Road.
Yes.
There's going to be a few minutes of awkward silence. As I download this presentation, our consultant's having a hard time getting it onto the hard drive. So bear with me for just 1 second.
Okay.
Other things, I can report a little bit too. We have, as you know, summer is coming to an end. Camps are about to finish. Kids are getting back to school. I know Andy's kind of happy about that. Glad to send them back. I would say it's glad when they start, and it's even better when they finish. Get them back in school. But it's been a good summer. It's been a real good summer. We've had lots and lots of kids. And if you've noticed also, the pool, There is some renovation going on out front. That should be finished within the next 2 weeks also. They're redoing the whole front of the pool area.
Good.
Sign, everything is being redone, grass, new plants. So it should look really good. I mean, you know, we've also done the inside. That's been done. The bathrooms, the painting of the building, all that's been done already. So now the outside front is getting done. The skate park, we have gotten 2 task orders as far as sending out to bid now. So that's as far as we've reached with the skate park. We have 2 different ideas of how it can be fixed. So now we'll put it out to bid, and from there, we'll be able to get things done. But it's on its way. It's on its way. So things are moving as far as skate park too.
Okay.
All right.
Do we still have a lifeguard issue at the pool?
You know, this year we've actually done bonuses, we have done sign-on bonuses, and yes, we still have a problem. And it's gonna get even worse because the ones who we have working this summer, they're going back to school.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be short-staffed again, but we're hoping we can, some older people will sign on and become lifeguards. Right now, that's the only thing that's gonna help us. So we're putting signs out, we're putting applications out, we're hoping that, hopefully sometime we're gonna get some new lifeguards. But when they go back to school, we're down to I think 8. And 8 is not enough to run that pool 7 days a week. Not even close. So there may be some times where we may have to close in the middle of the day. We're gonna look at the schedule and try and open as much as we can. But yes, there is a problem. We're short.
Are we looking for more people in the golf course also?
Yes,
Maintenance?
yes, we are. Yes.
Because I believe they only have 7,
In the,
7 or 8.
are you talking about the maintenance?
Maintenance, the
Yes,
whole-
I did a study the other day. I called around all different courses. I'm gonna tell you, what we have for 27 holes, majority of courses have more than that for 18 holes.
Right.
Yeah, we are definitely short-staffed. I have one in the budget for next year to increase. Hopefully it passes, but I think we have 2 openings right now. And I know the other day, we had 2 interviews, all set to go, and last minute didn't show up. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we do have openings. We are definitely short in the maintenance area too.
Everybody wants to cut grass. We have opportunities.
Yes, we do. Yes. Yeah.
It's not just cutting grass. There's
Yes,
a lot of
yes,
stuff out there.
yes.
Irrigation.
Yes. Lots.
Digging ditches.
Fun stuff.
Some young kids out there.
All right.
Eddie?
My apologies for the delay on that. I'm Walker Dawson. I'm the Stormwater Utility Manager with the city. We have our consultant here from Jacobs. They have been working with us on the Ramp Road park improvements, which include parking improvements as well as stormwater improvements. I'm going to turn it over to them. I know you got a lot to talk about with the tennis stuff tonight. This is Ricky Lee and Raquel Lopez. They have been leading the project, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them. Thank you, Walker.
Good evening. My name is Ricky Lee from Jacobs Engineering, and this is
Raquel Lopez from Jacobs as well.
We'll talk a little bit about the project background and objectives, go into some of our data collection efforts, talk about the development of the improvements that we came up with, including parking improvements and also water quality improvements, and then open it up for Q&A and next steps. So a little bit of background about this project. There's been an uptick in popularity for Ramp Road Park, especially with kayak users and things like that. And so parking has been an issue. And so the city has asked us to take a look at possibly expanding parking available for the citizens to use, while at the same time looking at stormwater treatment options to improve water quality of discharges into the Banana River Lagoon. This is a map of the project area. Data collection. So just to get people, our folks situated, where Ramp Road is, right next to the Banana River Lagoon and right next to Freedom 7 Elementary School, which we share property with on the site, on the parcel. We did a field investigation, met Mr. Walker out there last year, took some field survey and took some photos of what the citizens were doing. There are some tread marks, as you can see, along the grass area where folks are just parking on there because there's not enough parking. We also took a look at the existing stormwater infrastructure. Some of the inlets there are a little bit worn, a lot of silt in there, and the water table, we could see clearly, you know, the water table's high. So, and we also took a look at the existing Freedom Sevens stormwater pond next door, which will come up later in our discussion. We did have a geotechnical investigation by Arterman Associates, who looked at the groundwater table as well as the infiltration rates of the soil to see how fast water can move in the soil and see how high the water is in case we have any innovative solutions that we could use to help with the treatment. And they found the water is about 1 foot to 2 foot below, which makes sense because we're so close to the river lagoon. This slide would show the FEMA floodplains. I'm not sure what's going on, but in your printouts, you'll see a map of it. The blue represents the 100-year floodplain, which the entire park is within, and then the orange represents the 200-year floodplain, which is a little bit outside. But the elevation of the floodplain is elevation 3, and based on our survey, everything's already above elevation 3, so it's already built up above the floodplain. So we took that in consideration to make sure we don't impact any floodplains, and if we do, we have to compensate with, you know, cup for cup in order for any permitting later on with St. John's. And so that information helped us develop some Ramp Road Park improvements, including parking improvements and the water quality aspect from the runoff from the extra pavement. The existing site has 18 parking spots, including 12 conventional car spots, 20 by 10, 1 ADA accessible, which is 20 by 12, and then 5 boat trailer size parking spots, 42 by 10. So a total of 18 parking spots right now. Oh goodness. Okay. So in your slides, you'll see some green area, which is where the proposed pavement will be, some of the proposed parking space, which is basically where the folks are parking right now in the grass. Keep talking. Sure. And we also looked at adding street parking along Ramp Road itself. So.
Yeah, long story, but I wasn't sure if you guys were going to make it, so.
Is that the green slivers of?
There you go.
Yes.
Then you can escape that.
The green slivers on Ramp Road are some of the street parking that we got. Okay. So you can see here, and the next slide will be our table that we developed that shows how many new parking spots there will be. So we actually were able to get 16 new parking spots within the park itself, and then 16 along the Ramp Road for a total of 32 new parking spots for a grand total of 50 parking spots total. And we did take into consideration the ADA requirements of how many spots are, you know, how many ADA spots are required per regular parking spots, and so there's a total of 3 after this improvement's done, so additional 2 ADA. And 4 boat trailer size, and then 10 conventional within the park, and then 16 along the street. So with all the parking, you know, pavement, obviously we have to take a look also at stormwater. In the existing conditions, the runoff from Ramp Road exits into this red system here that you see, basically infiltrating into the ground. But as you saw earlier, the system's not working as it was built, you know, and over time it gets, you know, built up, and so it's really not being treated, and so just directly discharging pollution into the river. And so we took a look at adding a stormwater drain to the existing Freedom 7 Schools pond. Lots of spaces don't have a pond right next to them, right? And they would have to buy land and dig up this pond. But thankfully, we do have a pond next door that we could tap into for this little amount of pavement that we're adding to provide some treatment for the stormwater. Basically, our ponds are kind of like gravity sedimentation basins for the pollutants to settle in. So the more deeper you go, the more pollution it can kind of take out before it discharges into the river. And the green kind of shows our proposed system configuration, the concept. And then the blue is the discharge out into the Bennett River Lagoon after it had some time to settle out, right?
So in addition to looking into modifying the pond to hold more water, we're gonna look at additional ways to provide water quality treatment since we are adding that additional pavement area. One of those innovative treatment systems are BMAX, as you see up here. And basically what these are their floating islands of plants or wetlands. And so we'll place these islands into the pond and the roots will take up nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus. And that'll be good because that prevents algae buildup, which will eventually reduce the oxygen and take away from the aquatic life in the Bennett River Lagoon. In addition, we're hoping to add some signage around the pond to inform the public that this pond is providing water quality treatment. It'll also be there for the school, for kids to know, stormwater and about stormwater and water quality and what improvements have been made to the park.
One fact that we learned is that 1 pound of phosphorus can equate to 500 pounds of algae. So removal of just 1 pound is doing a good, service of it. All right, so next steps, after our concept, we'll be going into design, getting additional survey for the existing pond, see what's out there so we can get accurate measurements for construction, get into construction plans, meet with St. John's and FDP. We actually met with them during our concept phase to get their input and ideas, and so we'll be meeting with them again as we get into design for final permitting. And then on to bidding, and then contractor selection, and then construction. Okay. Questions, and thank you so much again.
So real quick, I wanted to jump back and just share something with the folks here. And this was news to me. So if you see this black line here, this is actually the property boundary for the Freedom 7 property. That property is owned by the school board, unbeknownst to me until a couple weeks ago. And we have, I think we entered into, just 2020, I believe, we entered into a 20 or 25-year agreement with the school board to continue to maintain and operate.
25.
What was it?
25.
25, okay. To continue to maintain and operate that. I was unaware of that. But part of this project, because that pond is for the school board and really ultimately the treatment of stormwater on the Freedom 7 elementary school site, we need additional buy-in from the school board. We're currently working with the city attorney to draft up an agreement. I think we may end up improving the fencing, the security around the actual stormwater pond, but also going back to the BMATS idea, which Jacobs came up with. That's a great educational tool because Freedom 7 is very much environmentally oriented. They can take kids out there, and BMATs have successfully been utilized around the county. Brevard County has them. I think City of Titusville has used them, and we are proposing to install them at the Maritime Hammock Pond next year. So just wanted to share that with you before you got into questions.
Thank you.
In the parking
Yes.
area where you notice the number of trailered cars in the end, on a
Yes.
weekend,
Yes.
really 9 is not nearly enough. Is there any way we can work into a percentage basis, maybe a little higher with trailer parking and less with the cars or something?
You mentioned boat trailers. Is that what you're asking for?
I can jump in on that. I think this was the direction that we gave them, from the staff perspective, because anyone who's been here for a long time, in the 90s, the only people that really used this was the people that were pulling trucks and trailers. we've transitioned over into an era where we have vendors who are running kayak tours, and you know that you go there on a Saturday and Sunday, and the vast majority of the users are they're either on kayaks or they're on paddle boards. So we tried to make sure to increase the number of truck and trailer parking while being cognizant of the fact that the vast majority of the people that are using it now are coming in cars, pulling kayaks and paddle boards. I too am a boat owner, and I've utilized this. You know, I have a waterfront property, and I put my boat in here all the time. So I appreciate that. I'm not sure we could really squeeze much more out of it. We looked into parallel parking for trucks and trailers. That's kind of a no-go. Anybody who's driven a truck and a trailer before knows how challenging that can be. So I think this is kind of the optimum setup we can have without losing one of the amenities like the playground or the pavilion or the tennis court or something like that. So
Yeah, I mean, that's what the ramp's there for, and what
Agreed.
everybody, and in the recent weeks, fishing has been a little better from what I hear, so we're gonna see more and more people on weekends.
Yep, agreed. Unofficially, on the weekends, I've found myself parking in the school board building right across from the rec center with my truck and trailer. Not recommending that, but
I know the trick.
What's the timetable on this project?
Timetable, we're in negotiations for the design phase now, and then.
So that will be what, 6 to 8 months before we think we're ready to go to bid with the project?
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's funded. It's,
Well,
I mean, it's on the budget's what I mean, yeah.
It is in the proposed budget.
Okay.
The budget has yet to be adopted for
Right.
FY '24, so yes, it is. And,
Okay.
you know, I'll get up on the mic. We're in a very special position right now with the amount of grant funding available for resiliency projects, for water quality improvement projects. So we're in a pretty good position to get this project moving forward. So.
One thing that might help us is, if you go over to a couple of the parks across the way next to, one of them is next to Grills, small park, doesn't have the parking facilities we have here, but they have it signed off. I mean, it says boat, or truck and boat trailers only, and cars only, and that does make a big difference.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the devil in the details thing, but I would be a big fan of that as well, because oftentimes you'll pull up with a truck and a trailer and there'll be
Yeah.
4 cars parked in the truck trailer parking because there was nowhere else for them to park. So I agree with that, and that's something we can look into.
Did we look into adding another tennis court? Just threw that out there for these.
Yeah. I'm looking at Laird when you ask that question.
All right.
That's another hour here today.
I have a serious question now. You were, when you're talking about the retention, or is it a retention or a detention pond?
It's wet detention, yes.
So are you dredging that out, make it deeper?
We are looking at that because obviously currently it's permitted for a certain amount of volume, right? And so with a little bit more, we'll have to adjust the control structure elevation. And when we talked to St. John's, they did say that if we were to propose to have more volume in there, it will even increase the pollutant removal.
Right.
So yes, and that's why we need to get more survey for the pond in the next phase, because settling over time and stuff. So we want to get good accurate measurements for dredging.
Right, that's something I've been talking about for a long time at this golf course. All the ponds we have out here are very shallow. And if they were dredged out, the filtration system would be so much better. And a lot of people don't realize, but all the water, the runoff from our water treatment facility, after it's treated and all, goes through a series of ponds here before it goes out, actually goes out to the river. And if the water's only 3 feet deep or 2 feet deep, maybe 1 foot in some places, it's just running right through.
Yes.
If it was deeper, it has more time to percolate or naturally filter the.
Exactly, yes. The removal efficiency is dependent on the time of retention, and the time of retention is based on volume below the water level. So yeah, definitely agree with that. Yeah, but there's always cause and effect, right? So sometimes when you dredge, then other things happen too. So
Right, there's a lot of issues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
I just have just some real simple questions. Number one was, In the parking lot, you have a vegetation island. Is that currently gone already?
In our design, we kept it because obviously we wanted to minimize impact to trees as much as possible. I did read minutes a couple months ago. You guys wanted it gone or something like that, but
No, I mean, is it physically gone right
It's
now?
gone, yes, it's
Okay,
paved,
okay.
it's paved,
Yeah, you paved it over, so does
Yes.
that
it's
Okay.
gone.
just add more parking spots? or-
more boat trailers. We'll see.
There you go, there you go, got one.
Yes, I did. Okay, so you took it out. Okay.
The second one is
Update the survey.
just the design of the ramp stop, or, from the road, there's that little peninsula there. You're familiar with everyone's familiar.
the little
And that's
island.
just a design for stopping vehicles from driving right into the river, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
Is that still necessary in your design, or?
we kept it there.
You kept it there as well?
So we did not. We try to keep as much existing as possible.
Original.
Just look at expansion. Yeah.
They'll be all repaved or reconcreted
Correct.
around that area?
Yes, we did take that into account.
I think that's pretty good. Is there a launch fee?
No,
No, it's a free ramp, okay.
the only fee we have out there is the kayakers have a franchise fee. But
Okay,
no, the
yeah.
boats and everything else is free. But I thought that, speaking of that, I think there was a discussion of possible, just a discussion about possibly doing parking fees there. But not the locals for outside. I think there was a discussion, just a discussion. So don't go anywhere with it. Yes.
Isn't there parking at the rec center and the playhouse on the weekends? It's empty up there.
I mean, it is empty. Yes.
Yeah,
So
That's where Walker parks his boat.
yeah.
should we let the record show that Laird is proposing parking fees at
Absolutely. I wrote that down.
Just checking.
I'll bring that up at the next commission
Yeah,
meeting, right?
the wonderful thing that, so you don't drive in the river, it's gotta be outdated by 100 years. Highways, freeways, and that use big signs. They should be able to do the same thing. Other thing about it is that, just look at A1A right now, where they're putting a stoplight in for crossings. That's it. I mean, there's no bumpers, nothing. And I think personally that there's gonna be a few accidents in that middle lane for probably right now.
Laird, do we have another meeting at 5 o'clock here?
Not that I know. of.
Okay, I just want to see if
No,
we can,
not that
if
I
we're
know.
going to be able to go over.
Yeah.
time again.
Today is-
Thank you, it's very, very good, and I know we'll get updates as this goes forward, and you'll probably be presenting to the city commission as well.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice presentation, folks.
No meeting.
Okay. All right, next item is the tennis contract. Larry, did we have someone that was going to speak today? Did you have?
Nope, just open for discussion and for y'all to make a
Just
decision.
continue on, pardon?
Just an open discussion and y'all to make decisions.
Well, we're not going to make a decision. Well, we're going to make a recommendation.
Sorry, a recommendation.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm gonna make that clear,
recommendation,
that's-
yes. Not a decision, yes.
But I would think that they'll listen to what we have to say.
I would think so, yes. That's the reason, I think that's the main reason why you came here,
That's right.
yes.
That's exactly right. So why don't we just continue on? If anybody, a lot of you were here last, a couple weeks ago when we had our first meeting, and some very good discussion. And I'm going to open it up right now for public comment if anyone would like to speak on either side of the issue, or if you just have some basic questions that maybe haven't been brought up. You're more than just raise your hand or come on up to the podium. When you do come up to the podium, please state your name and your address, whether you're a Cocoa Beach resident or whatnot, so that Andy can document it in the minutes as to who spoke. If nobody wants to speak,
I'll speak.
well, I didn't think you'd be afraid to speak.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
You all know I love tennis, but I want to start off by saying, Andy, I know she's going to be recognized by the city for what happened at the pool. Amazing day for her, really hard day, and if you would just, appreciate her, please. I was there that day. It was a scary day, and yeah, just amazing. But I'm a tennis player. You guys know me. I'm a troublemaker, but I believe in both sides in this argument. I know Dane, Elaine, who's new to me. I know Sock. Alvin, that you back there? They're all good tennis people. And I wish some of the kids that they're teaching were here today because, you know, let's make it about the kids, you know? I mean, really. John Sanders is a great guy. I see Ronnie Gould here, you know, who's used to be here, and I was hoping was going to take over Cocoa Beach courts, but, you know.
Excuse me, if you could speak into the microphone?
The other thing I want to say is tennis is expensive. I'm here with my wife because she's a retired school teacher who taught at Cocoa High, and when I was running the Swiss Inn, I'm not a pro, I've never been a pro, but I tried to make tennis available to low-income kids. My kids all played for Rockledge High, Space Coast High, and Cocoa High, so could you come coach for us? Those kids couldn't afford lessons, private lessons, and I didn't want to coach against my kids. But, you know, I think we need to figure something out here. The USTA is there. John Sanders is a great guy. Sock, where's Sock? You know, he's taught me a lot about tennis. You know, despite whatever, you know, anybody thinks I'm taking sides here, but, you know, and the other thing is tennis does not make money. You know, I know every facility in this county. Rockledge Park is free now. Kiwanis is free. I know Kiwi. I'm good friends with the general manager. You don't make money at tennis. I mean, I know a great presentation he put up, but just like, let's do something for the community, but we gotta let everybody in. You know, Ramp Road is there, Cameron Barkley's there, and, you know, they have private coaches, and I know, where are the kids today? But there's some good young tennis players out there. And these families can afford to pay these guys, and I get it, you know, but it just again, everybody, we need to come together, you know, and provide tennis for it's a great sport. I'm 68 years old. I'm still hitting with 10-year-olds and high school kids, you know, and you know, pickleball is going to come in. My wife and I, we stopped by Sarno the other night because, you know, on our way from our daughter's house. Sarno is going off. That was a dead facility for years. I'm not a pickleball player, but again, and as far as revenue, again, you're not going to make money at tennis. You might make a few pittance, but you know, again, I wish we could work together. I know these guys. They're good tennis instructors. You know, John Sanders is good. Ronnie Gould, Susie Contos, my good friend. You know, just, you know, let's make it about the kids. Let's make it about the future of the sport and about just getting out there and, you know, getting people exercise. And, you know, it's gotten contentious, and I admit that I've been part of that. But it just, you know, let's do something for Cocoa Beach, for the community, for all these tennis and pickleball players. I mean, let's put the BS aside, you know. Let's make this place thrive, you know. I mean, it's important to me, you know. I want my grandkids to play. You know, they are starting to play, but again, let's just think about the kids. Let's think about tennis and our community, you know. That's it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Granger. I live at 141 St. Croix Avenue. I've been a Cocoa Beach resident since 2008. I'm a member of Space Coast Tennis USTA. I am the former VP of the women's division for Space Coast Tennis and also the former tennis coach for the Brevard Special Olympics. I'm here today to offer my support for reissuing USTA's contract to manage the tennis club. As a parent and a citizen, I do have concerns, and I do want the children to play at the courts. I don't know how the narrative got started, that kids weren't being allowed to play at our courts. Any child can play at our courts, and John does not charge them. As a parent and a citizen, I have concerns regarding who manages our club, how the coaches undergo vetting, background checks, and the rising costs at our public facility. Since 2008, our costs have gone up to play there from $3 to $5. It's incredibly cheap to play at the USTA facility. As a recreational player, the past 15 years, I have competed and taken lessons at nearly every private and public court in Brevard. And I've never seen any of the coaches from the Trent-Trarick team employed at any of the public or private courts or hired by BPS to coach the high school teams. I'm not sure how it works having family members do security vetting on their family members, but I know that USTA coaches undergo great scrutiny regarding background checks, qualifications, and drug testing. John has stated that the Trent-Trarick team was welcome to apply to coach at USTA, but at the leadership meeting 2 weeks ago, the representative stated that USTA could not afford to pay their upwards of $150,000 salaries. I'm no mathematician, but 4 coaches at $150,000 each is $600,000. I can't imagine the increase of our player fees to cover those salaries in addition to club maintenance. Also concerning is the current way the Trent-Trarick team has run their coaching business in Cocoa Beach as of this date. They've been coaching at other Cocoa Beach public courts while not under contract with the city, without paying the city to operate, and I assume without security vetting and insurance. Oh, sure, sorry. By not being employees, they have put liability risks on USTA and the city of Cocoa Beach for years. This is no different than if they tried to coach on public courts in Rockledge, Satellite Beach, Vieira, or the private clubs of Kiwi and Century. I can't bring my own food into the 19th hold and try to sell it. No other courts here in the county allow other coaches to just come in if they're not employed by those courts. It doesn't matter if they're public or private. The USTA, despite setbacks with lights, court resurfacing issues, and city works maintenance struggles that were out of their control, have done an outstanding job operating our club, even during the mandated COVID restrictions. John Sanders and his staff are professionally consistent, well-liked, and run amazing clinics for children and adults. They run socials and many league events. And there's also the $200,000 grant that USTA has proposed to make to Cocoa Beach to fix those courts. I thank you so much for your time and allowing me to comment.
Thank you, Kathy. Would anyone else like to speak? Sure. Oops. Gentleman up front, go ahead.
Have a police board. My name is Scott Nelson. I am the USAPA pickleball ambassador district ambassador for the area. That runs from Flagler down to Palm Beach. I live in Satellite Beach, and there has been a lot of conjecture back and forth, and I wanted to come up and obviously answer any questions about pickleball. I'm one of the original pickleball players in Brevard County, started approximately 16 years ago. I'm a certified instructor. I've taught probably 600 to 800 people, and a lot of those players I've taught in Satellite Beach. A lot of those players come from Cocoa Beach. We have an expanding area here. I do have a deck if I could. I don't know if I've got enough time to do that.
A what?
A PowerPoint?
No.
Okay.
I don't have time to.
Okay. So
This is not about really pickleball. This is about a contract we have with USTA and the city of Cocoa Beach.
Correct.
In running the courts out here.
Correct.
I understand that there's some discussion whether they're going to have pickleball or whatnot, but that's really not part of the conversation. It's about who's going to actually run the the courts and maintain the courts out there.
Understood. I was at the last meeting though, and you did specifically say that you, people that wanted to talk about pickleball, to come to this meeting.
Oh, okay. But yeah, well, thank you very much. And I'll have a conversation with you outside of that, because I think it's just a growing sport that's not tennis. It's pickleball. It's like
Correct.
racquetball's not pickleball. Racquetball's not tennis. They're all three different sports, and there's people are kind of moving around back and forth.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll build some facility for that down the road.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. Yeah. So essentially, it's about your citizen. You have a large populace here. And I don't know how many people here play pickleball, but there is a large populace in the area that play pickleball. I actually am the one that brought pickleball to the Cocoa Beach gym and started there. But it is far expanding. If you look at the Cape Canaveral facility, we started it up there several years ago, and right now, and it's really it was based upon need, because there are tennis courts that are dormant for X amount of hours a day. That's every facility. Some they're sitting there consistently, and it's just a good way to have the community utilize them in a different way. Okay, so I mean, I go up and play on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and we use 2 tennis courts, which equate out to 6 pickleball courts, and there's 20 people waiting. Okay, on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Looking over the other tennis facility courts, there maybe is 1 court that is actually being used. So it's about utilization of your facilities in the best way possible, and that's my charter as a USA pickleball ambassador to support that effort for the community.
Thank you, Scott.
Certainly.
Appreciate it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I didn't get to make the last meeting, but I'm Alvin Trotter. I'm that guy that's sitting always in the back. To be honest, this is really not an argument for me, because I've been involved in tennis for 38 years. Some of you are probably new to tennis in my terms, because I've played it competitively for a long time. I didn't play it in college, I think this is more, for me, my heart, my passion, as I've been in Brevard County since 2016. I have 2 stepdaughters who graduated right here at Cocoa Beach High School. Both of them played basketball. I'm a grandfather. I now got to look forward to raising that grandchild around here, because trust me, those females are not leaving this beach. And I'm happy that I've had the opportunity to contribute to high school players, middle school players, elementary school players, okay, of all ages and levels. My clientele spans from Cape Canaveral, it goes Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, Vieira, Merritt Island. I go all over the place, because some of these players, their parents came to me. I didn't go to them. I didn't solicit not one of my lessons. I just want everybody to know that. I did not solicit one lesson here in Brevard County. It was all word of mouth. I got nothing bad to say about the USTA, nothing bad to say about John, because he's been on my tennis team. I would rather see him on my tennis team still. And this is not about the pickleball situation. I'm a pickleball coach now because of what last week I think some folks said something about credentials. I carry this daily. That's the USPTA app. So if anybody ever questions me about my liability insurance, about my credentials, I carry it 24/7, 365. So no one can challenge me when it comes to, am I coaching on a public court? Am I going to join Cocoa Beach and join their staff and coach? Am I going to go to Kiwi and coach? I am a USPTA certified coach, and I've been that for almost 10 years. And what I want is I want the community to come together, whether it be me and John and the guys sit down and talk about how we can work it out. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but I do know that I know Marcelo Gouts. I grew up in Orlando as a junior tournament player, going to Lake Kane Tennis Center. So from the time I was 14 years old, all the way till this day, I just won a tournament in doubles just a month or two ago at Marcelo's facility called Lake Kane. I like to mediate. I like to get everybody in the group and say, let's work this out together. Because right now, here's what I deal with. I deal with pickleball and tennis. And guess what I have to really, really mediate between? I'm gonna let you all have this court because I'm done. I'm okay with that. But I've also had pickleball players walk into the court as if it's their court and they just sit there, all their equipment, tents, rackets, paddles, their kids, all the food, picnic bags and everything. I get it. It's fun. Pickleball's fun, but we have to mediate between it because I'm a coach in tennis and pickleball, and I'm not going to argue with the pickleball players. I'm not going to argue with the tennis players. But for the community of Cocoa Beach, I think collectively, as we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 or 7 coaches here, I think we can accomplish a lot, a tremendous amount. How we all get to that round table and make that agreement happen, I don't know, but I can just tell you what I was taught. Old school. Work it out. Don't argue. Become a team together in your community. It'll flourish more than you can ever imagine. And I learned that from my grandparents, both of them business owners. One graduated University of Central Florida. My grandfather was a construction manager. So I learned some really tough life, some hard life, but I also learned how to do things right. So if we want to make this right, I guess we all better get together and sit down and make it right, because we're not going to be divisive in this, because it's not going to work. If you like pickleball, great. If you like tennis, great, but we got to come together. And I'm right there in the middle, so if you want to argue with me about tennis, argue with me about tennis. You want to argue with me about pickleball, argue with me about pickleball. But I guarantee you this, I can teach you how to enjoy both of them. I'm done with my time. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Hi, my name is Kelly Cordes, and I live at 385 Cedar Avenue in Cocoa Beach. I didn't plan a speech. I just kind of nervous and wanted to just get my concern on the record. Aside from who you select to manage the facility, I play at Cocoa Beach. I'm the captain of a 3.0 team. We started with John with his beginning programs and really became passionate about tennis. So I just want to say this isn't about anybody personally at all. When we started the league play, we had asked John if he could be our coach, and he was just too busy. He had other teams that he was coaching and all of his responsibilities. He just didn't have the time to coach our team. So because of that, we had to go find our coach, a different coach. And my question or my point is, if we want to practice, our team practice with our coach, no matter who it is, and we rent the courts to practice, why wouldn't we be allowed, separate of all this issue, to bring our coach with us to practice and coach us as we practice? So we represent Cocoa Beach, we represent our community. You know, we're all over Brevard County playing in our leagues and representing our facility. But I'm not able to practice at my own home courts because my coach isn't employed by USTA. So I tried my team, 2-5 at the time, and now 3-0 because of our coach. He's really brought us up through the ranks a little bit, or a lot. I'm a resident, I'm a taxpayer, and I represent the facility. And my question is, why can't I bring my coach to coach our practices? We have to go elsewhere. We have to go to Merritt Island, we have to go to Rockledge, we have to go to different places. But I feel like we should be able to practice at our home courts with our own coach, at least during our practice, not employed, not whatever. I mean, that's a different discussion, but that's my and my team's and many other teams' concern, that we need to practice. We need to get ready for these matches. And we don't have any way to do it at our own facility. That's my concern.
Okay, thank you, Kelly.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elaine Trentrip, representing Open Court, Cocoa Beach. I live at 770 South Atlantic Ave. Just want to address some concerns to the community. I know there was discussion about salary and the contract and how that works. I just want to reiterate again that Open Court, Cocoa Beach LLC, which is a single entity owned by myself, would be the contracted person with the city if the city chooses that way. The other coaches are all would contract with me as contracted employees. So they're not salaried. They're actually bringing in their income to the city to participate in these courts. So it's not like it would be, I'm paying them a fixed salary of some set amount and the city's not going to be able to afford it. The ultimate responsibility of the courts, the maintenance, and all the other things to make it an operation would rely on me and me solely. I also want to address the salary concern about, how USTA Florida was trying to attract some more coaching personnel. The number that they're trying to attract is $25 an hour, which isn't really competitive in the market. So, I mean, it would be great if you could attract a top quality coach at $25 an hour, but the average coaching salary is around $50 and above. So it's hard to attract a coach at that rate. In terms of background checks and things like that, we'd use the same city preferred vendor for those things. So same references, whether it's my coaching staff or other coaches that want to teach at the facility, they would be required to do the same background checks as any other facility. Cape Canaveral does the same thing. They allow contracted coaches to teach at their centers. You could be a contracted person with the city of Cape Canaveral. They require background check and they require insurance. We do the same thing. All our coaches are USPTA certified. We have coaches that have taught internationally, at tennis academies around the world. And so we're bringing some really high quality coaches. And the last point I want to say is we're not excluding John Sanders. I can't speak to what his employment goals are with USTA Florida, but what we're really coming together about is about access. These are public facilities, and having one coach manage all 12 courts just isn't really in line with what's practiced elsewhere. Again, I spoke, Kiwi Club has 9 teaching professionals over 14 courts, and that's why they have the level of play that they do there. So we're trying to provide a means of access to the citizens of Cocoa Beach, to the people that make a living teaching tennis, to have access at these courts. And I think the overall value to the community that will bring will be in excess of what's currently being delivered now. So, and I'll be around to answer any questions.
Yeah, Elaine, can I ask you something?
Sure.
If, let's say you don't get Cocoa Beach, USTA gets it, what about if you can have access to Cameron Barkley and Ramp Road and teach there within the city umbrella, charge your fees, and be able to book, which you guys are already doing, it's not a secret, okay?
Yep.
You guys are already at Cameron Barkley and Ramp Road, and you're teaching, you're taking money, I get it, it's fine.
Right.
How would you feel about that? I have proposed that to the rec department, that if they could, monitor that, you can already book the lights online at Ramp Road, why can't you book the courts in pickleball? How would you feel about that if the city gave you access to Cameron Barkley and Ramp Road and your brother and your father?
I think again, it's not just my brother, my father.
No, I understand.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just think those two facilities,
Yeah.
especially when you have access to courts now that are being underutilized,
I get it.
It would be hard to kind of take that away from the public, because a lot of people want to play
Yeah, right.
there, and giving someone control of 2 courts and I think it'd be a scheduling
Okay.
difficulty and hard to manage and hard
Okay.
to accomplish that way.
It'd be hard to manage.
Not hard to manage, but like, how do you control access to a facility?
But what if you could book it
At Ramp
online?
Road.
Well, again, I'm putting this on Laird now. What if
Right.
you can already book the lights online at Ramp Road, why can't they book the courts on Ramp Road? You know, to a degree, you know, and pickleballers, and then you show up
Yeah.
there with a receipt, so
Well,
you can't be kicked on, or you can't.
I think those courts are basically.
Open to the public.
we're
So
put-
first
yeah, it's
come,
for-
first
For
served.
public, it's not for training purposes. I mean, they could be, well, clearly,
That's the reason we're here.
clearly it is.
That's what's going on.
Well, we had a discussion, you know, a week ago about USTA and this other group and other coaches come to some sort of agreement where you can maybe lease out the tennis courts at certain times of the week
Right.
to the other coaches and those other groups and your teams, your 3.0 team. I think can still be in the works. John, do you agree that are we still up for negotiating with that, or?
I can't discuss whether that would even be an option. The USTA does stand firm that they are more than welcome to apply for employment as long as they all meet the standardized teaching standards. As of July 20th, Alvin Trotter was the only one that is USPTA certified and Safe Place certified. The other three that they presented are not.
Okay.
So either USPTA or PTR.
All right.
True.
Those applications are in the process,
So
Okay.
they're not certified.
So you guys are not certified?
in process.
Okay, that's not certified.
All right, that's enough. That's pretty clear. That's pretty clear.
Okay, by the time the contract is
Elaine, thank you. All right. Does anyone else, did you have anything else? Okay. Yes, ma'am?
All right, Melissa Rosenquist, 40 Yacht Haven Drive, Cocoa Beach. I don't have anything prepared either, and I missed last meeting, so I apologize for what I don't know. But as I sit here and listen, it sounds to me as we're discussing who's actually going to manage the facilities, not coach. And all I've heard tonight is all about the coaching. And I just want to make sure that we are keeping in mind that just because you're a coach and you're a good coach doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be the best at managing a facility of that size. And that's all I'd like to say is just keep that in mind. It's not about coaching, it's about managing the facility. Thank you.
Anyone else? Don't be afraid. Come on up. All right. There we go.
Hi, I'm Dane Tondrog. I live in 770 South Atlantic Avenue. I've been here about 1 year. I've been gone for about 15 years overseas, working in Europe and Asia. When I came back, a lot of people in the community found out that I returned, and they saw my background, they heard about my background, and so they approached me quickly. And our family has been here since 1992, and when I got back, I discovered immediately that I was not allowed, because I used to play when I was a little child with my brothers and sisters, and this was when Richard was there. But I discovered quickly that I wasn't allowed to go there, and with these kids, these local community. I am employed at the Kiwi Club right now, and they just tell me that it's ridiculous that I have to take, Cocoa Beach, Cape Canaveral residents all the way to Kiwi, and it's very expensive at Kiwi as well because they have to have a membership. And so I'll also like to say that it's not about my family or anything like that. It's about the whole community. I mean, when I heard that this contract, could be a possibility, I immediately contacted Elvin. I contacted all the coaches and said, "Hey, look, this is an opportunity for us to maybe take control of this, and everybody's welcome. It's not just me. I don't want it for myself. I want it for everybody to have this bring your own coach policy, yeah, and use the facility because it's quite empty every single day, you know. And yes, so what do I have to do? I have to go to Ramp Road, and I have to go to Cameron Berkeley. If you sit there all day, it's going to be empty. Yeah, there are a few players, but yeah, so we use the courts. But I wish I could just go down to the Cocoa Beach Racquet Club, and because there's 12 courts and they're empty. I wish I could just pay the fee and just play, you know? And, you know, all this discussion, like, I thought this was America where you have freedom of speech. So if I rent the court, why can't I express my freedom of speech to another citizen? You get what I mean? Like, this doesn't happen in the rest of the, you know, in the other countries, they adopt this freedom of speech. When you rent the court, it is yours. You bring whoever you want, and you make a transaction. That's it, you know? So, you know, that's why I like to say that it's not about my family taking over this, and it's about everybody. Everybody is welcome to play there. And my brother discussed, the fee is gonna be the same. You know, it's just that we're gonna have a lot more options with many different coaches. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sharman Husty. I live at 3165 North Atlantic Avenue. I've been in Cocoa Beach since 2011. I just want to address, they keep saying that the courts are not utilized and they're empty. I play Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and sometimes Mondays. In the mornings, it's hard to get a court. It's full. If it's empty in the afternoon, it's because it's 105 degrees outside, and nobody wants to be out there in that heat. So I just want to say they are not underutilized. That's all.
Thank you. All right, last call. Come on, John.
John Sanders, USTA Florida. I run the Racquet Club next door. Again, I just want to reiterate, nobody is excluded from the Racquet Club of Cocoa Beach for any means except for your own personal financial gain. So no, you are not allowed to come out to the courts to make your own money out there. That is the one rule that we have. However, we are open to everyone else. No leagues have been excluded for practicing. If they want to run their own private practices without a coach, they're more than welcome to and have always been invited. Obviously, we have 16 home teams that play out of there. All of them have been granted the same access to the facility at all times. Kids, same way. And also kids with Special Olympics, Love Serving Autism, all of those programs occur at the Racquet Club. So the exclusion is what everybody keeps talking about, is just for these specific coaches that are trying to make profit for themselves. That's all we got.
Okay. Thank you.
My name is Jody Yeomans. I graduated from Cocoa Beach High, but I live in Merritt Island now. 40 years ago, snowboards were verboten on the ski slopes. Nobody liked them. Now they're ubiquitous. Snow skiers ski alongside snowboarders with no problem. It's just the way it is now. Pickleball is the coming thing. Some of one of your choices is opposed to pickleball. I understand. I got that secondhand. But one of your choices is opposed to pickleball, the other is open to the idea, not a big supporter, but open to the idea of maybe having a couple of pickleball courts. If you choose the company that is opposed to pickleball, that's not their choice, that's your choice. If you pick the company that's open to maybe having some pickleball courts here, then that is also your choice. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
My name is Missy Barley, and I live at 421 South Brevard Avenue, and I'm a pickleball player. And you opened the meeting saying this isn't about pickleball, but I just got a text from somebody, and there's really not a lot of places to play pickleball. I have gone over to Ramp Road and had to wait to play tennis even because there was somebody there coaching. So I don't want to get involved in the coaching thing. I just want to say that I spend a lot of money playing pickleball. I have a monthly card over here at the rec center. I play indoors at Cape Canaveral. I go over to Merritt Island to play in the evenings. And if you're going to make a decision about making some of the tennis courts pickleball, I think it would be a good idea because there's not a lot of places to play. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we'll close public comment. Laird, should we open up some pickleball courts and build some pickleball courts right out here? I think that's probably next, right?
The tennis courts?
Yeah, a whole new facility. Let's see if we can get that on the budget this year.
Okay, no problem.
Gentlemen, do you have any discussion?
Yeah, I have a little discussion. I've spent this afternoon reviewing the 19-page contract that is up for renewal. I've also reviewed everyone's letters that have been sent. I know that this isn't really a fight between pickleballers and tennis players. This is a fight between the coaches or not coaches. Now, Larry, you made a statement at the last meeting that the contract, anything can go in a contract, right?
Anything can go in a contract.
If in fact the USGA, Tennis Association, does not allow outside contractors, and if that's their contract, well, does that mean that we have to follow that rule?
Once a contract is awarded, the contractor decides what happens at that facility.
Okay.
We cannot tell them what to run, what not to run, once it's been awarded. Unless there's something we negotiate ahead of time, before that contract is signed, yes. But once it is signed and they have the contract, it's their decision what runs at that court.
So if John runs a new contract by the organization, and it has some language changes regarding the contractors coming on location.
Yep.
Then that association will determine whether or not they want to agree to that?
Yep.
Well, my opinion is that I think, looking at all the information and everything, I think that there's no doubt John is doing a good job out there. Everything I read is very positive. There's some repair issues I can see that are needed out there. But as far as the overall operation, I think it's being run well. I just think there's a way to compromise on this by allowing the coaches who are private coaches to have access to those courts and specifically to be able to teach. That's my opinion. But of course, that's going to have to be something that the Tennis Association would have to take up at that point.
We could put that, I mean, that's something that could go in the contract before it's signed. That is something that can be done. Yep. But I mean, it's up, it's not negotiation.
It's something that would be negotiated, not
Exactly.
something that we would just put in there.
Exactly, no. it had to
Because
be
they may say,
negotiated.
oh,
Yes.
that's not our cup of tea, and that's not how we handle all of our other facilities.
I do see, if I might interrupt you, that pickleball is a going thing and it's going to grow and grow and grow. So we either get on the wagon now or we lose a lot of people playing in other places. I have a group of people, we decided to live in Cocoa Beach. Most of my friends and boaters and what have you ended up in the Southwest. And probably 15 years ago, when we get together in the summertime, they're talking about pickleball. I have to ask them what it is. I've never heard of it. And that's, people come up to me and ask when we're going to get pickleball.
We have pickleball here.
What?
Yeah, limited.
Lucas?
Well, I kind of rendered my recommendation a couple weeks ago via email due to my absence. And after listening to everybody here, reading all those documents, also, I didn't get a good chance to read the contract, but is this an automatic renewal contract or it is a RFP already put out?
It hasn't been put out, but it can be.
It can be.
Otherwise,
it's an
if that's the
automatic
decision, if that's the decision, yes, it can be. It will be done. That can be done. So you basically have three choices to recommend. You have three choices: to remain with the same, like to get a new one, or put it out. Those are the three choices you have.
And then so
as a
reading-
recommendation.
As a recommendation. And in reading the notes from the original June city council meeting, the contract isn't necessarily about coaching in the city's opinion, right? The contract is for managing, operating, and providing services at the facility.
Exactly.
And then the city also picks up some of the other managing of
We do some of it,
managing
yes.
utilities or whatever with that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, and in speaking with via email, Andy, in the previous 3 years, is that how long USTA has been involved, the last 3 years?
Second.
This is the second go around
contract.
already?
Second contract,
renewal?
yes.
And there has been zero formal complaints against the managing of the facility.
Yep.
I mean, I can't just switch just to switch because of a few people's recommendations. I mean, if the city and your recommendation was to approve the renewal in the first place, I'm gonna have to go along with that and
Well, my recommendation is whatever you guys recommend and the city commission recommends.
well, right,
That is
but I
my
mean, the recommendation
recommendation.
was to approve the renewal
Yes.
in June. So I don't see any reason to switch a contract, just to switch a contract if it's been held up on their end through the city's eyes and through the citizens' eyes if there's no complaints in that regard.
I want to point out in the contract, Article 20, on page 6 of the contract existing, it's on subcontractors. It says, no part of this contract shall be sublet without the prior express written approval of the city.
That's it.
So therefore, the city does have authority on the subleasing of part of the property.
Subleasing meaning that they cannot turn it over to somebody else. They can run it. They can hire, but they can't turn it over.
No, they can't turn it over, but I'm saying,
Right.
that's in the contract, and
Yes.
that does indicate that there is some flexibility there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That they can't take two courts and say, those two courts, we will release out to various coaches in the community.
Can't do that.
That's a
Something
company.
like that. All right, so, yeah, I had the same sentiment about that, and we had a discussion after the last meeting. It seemed like it was going well, and I think it still could. It's just gonna take some time. It's not just Cocoa Beach. It's a lot of different facilities across, really across the country, I guess, is how it's all managed. It was brought up about it's a business, yeah. So if they were to coach on these tennis courts, they're actually doing business there. They're making money coaching on these courts without going through all the vetting process and insurance and liability of the courts and whatnot. I know one of the gentlemen, I believe it was Alvin, said he has insurance. That's awesome. And he should if he's coaching, a bunch of folks all over the place. And you have to have that just for your own well-being and for your family. But again, to me, it comes down to what are we doing here? What is this about for the city? It's about managing that facility. I really feel that the USTA has done a fantastic job over the last 3 years, and that they should continue on. That being said, I think there's still some
Wiggle room.
There is, but that would be up to the USTA and those folks to be able to negotiate. And I don't know if they can with this other group. This other group is going to Cameron Barkley Park, they're going to Ramp Road Park, and that's technically not legal either. So that's a problem.
Yep.
And, so what do we do? What's the legal stance there? And I'm not saying we take a legal stance. I know, John, you might be a lawyer now. I don't know I didn't realize you were.
No, I'm a good guy.
But, it's, to me, it's not that tough a decision to go with, stay with USTA and give that recommendation.
With the caveat that the principals and volunteers that are coaches and so forth can get with the USGA and
There should be there should be, since it's required by us to put that in there, that it should read in such a way that if they allow other coaches, that those coaches need to be vetted and go through the same processes and everything. And if they determine a way to lease it to them, lease those courts to them on an hourly basis or a daily basis or whatever time management system they have for it, that we allow them to do that contractually. Because as it's written, we can't. They can't do that. So that's a good catch.
So I got a question in regards to, recently on your guys' webpage or whatever, you have your picture of your refurbishing of the two parks, or the two courts.
Yes.
And in there, it does state that the courts are multi-purpose, open to all citizens, pro, I think the actual word pro was in there as well. But that does exclude coaching at a
That pro just
money-making.
means a level of play.
Okay.
Yes, that's,
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
just want to
mean-
make that
yes,
clear. I mean, that
yes,
could be,
it
it's
means-
confusing to me after listening to the whole
Yes.
story here. Okay.
All right, so Laird, what do you need from us? And who's going to present this?
Recommendations, take your vote, recommendation. What do you all recommend?
motion,
Wow.
we're just making a recommendation.
Yeah, I'm just making a recommendation that I'll make this suggestion that we keep USTA as a managing partner for the tennis courts, and to make a subtle change in the contract to allow them to sublease courts on a time basis schedule if they choose to do so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my.
And that goes for everybody? Is that a unanimous?
Unanimous.
I agree with that, yes.
Okay. All right, so do you want to write that up? Do you want me to write that up, or is Andy going to write that up? And
Well, it will be in minutes, but you can write it up and give it to me, yes. It'd be good.
and then
As
are you going to present it at the meeting, or do you want
You
me
and
to?
I.
Okay.
You and I will be there.
All right.
We're a team.
And is this Thursday, or is it going to be in
No,
a
no,
couple of weeks?
I'll discuss it with the city manager and see when she wants to do that.
All right. Very good.
That doesn't mean that is, it all comes down to the city commission, of course. They can change it.
Right.
Yes.
So everything that you all have said here today and last week, you can all say it again at the city commission meeting. And seriously, I mean, you've had practice now. Some of you are afraid to get up there and speak. And so now, you're experienced, you're seasoned speakers, just go ahead and do it.
They've also heard both sides of the story.
Yeah, we've heard it all.
Which helps a lot.
Okay, so that's the plan going forward. Last thing is, if there's anyone that wants to speak on anything else other than what was on the agenda today?
Yep.
Mike, thought you might want to have something to say.
Hello, everybody. Cocoa Beach Kiwanis Club member, founder of the Grind for Life organization. We just finished up 24 days of skateboard camp. Great, had closed it out with 14 first-timers, was able to teach them how to keep their balance and lean forward and carve it up over there. The thing we're facing with outdoor activities is the heat. So, Laird, thank you for having that building with the brand new AC where when kids get overheated from being too active, we were able to cool the kids down. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't have been able to do the activities. It's just so hot now for the kids. So, yeah, we just done a very successful skate camp, and thank you, Laird, for maintaining the property and letting us run these programs for the Kiwanis Club to teach people how to skateboard safely and have fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Anyone else? Karen, you want to say something? No. Okay. All right. Meeting's adjourned.